Dreadlocks Maintenance, specifically how I maintain my dreadlocks. But wait a minute, you may be thinking, doesn't he say that he doesn't maintain his hair at all? Welcome to the grey area that is dreadlock definitions. Rarely is anything dreadlock related all that well defined. There's no dreadlock dictionary that you can turn to and find, oh yeah, that's what that means. Generally, when people refer to maintenances, they're thinking of things such as crocheting, rolling, twisting, waxing, felting, sewing. And by that definition, I do not maintain my hair at all. Nothing. Nada. However, I personally believe that there are many things during my day-to-day that lead to my dreadlocks getting maintained and lead to my dreadlocks becoming more and more mature over time. Now these things are things that a lot of people don't even think about when it comes to maintaining dreadlocks because they're just a given. But to me, they're all important things that all add together to produce mature dreadlocks. Right, I think the most important thing to understand when it comes to dreadlocks is the process by which they are formed, and that is you get hairs next to one another, they interact, they knot together, those two hairs knot with some more hair, knot with some more hair. Over time, they knot and knot and knot, and you end up with these matted ropes that are dreadlocks. So when it comes to a dreadlock maintenance, when it comes to something that you're going to do to your hair, you have to think of it in the terms of how is this going to help those hairs interact and knot up faster. That's generally the purpose of a maintenance. It's to try and get the dreadlocks to become in a mature state pretty much as fast as you can. I think that's pretty much what most people are looking for when they're maintaining their dreadlocks. When you think of it in this way, a lot of traditional maintenances, a lot of maintenances that people think of when they think maintenance kind of fall flat in that they don't really actually encourage those hairs to knot together. Some of them can have short-term limited effects on the dreadlocks, make them look kind of neater and more together during a short period of time, but actually haven't done a whole lot with regards to getting those hairs to knot up tighter. Other maintenances can have long-term effects on the aesthetic of the dreadlocks. They can lead the dreadlocks to look more together, but haven't actually had all that much of an effect on the hairs at the very knotted level. They can stuff lots of hairs in, but really haven't led to any individual hairs becoming any more knotted together, and can in fact then actually just lead to those hairs being pushed together so tightly that they can't further mature on their own. And of course, other maintenances can lead to complete negative opposite effects and slow down or stop the process occurring naturally altogether. So before you go into any maintenance, I really think that you should look at what that maintenance is going to do for you and your hair and weigh up the pros and cons. So for me, I'm generally pretty light on the maintenance, and by most people's definitions, don't maintain my hair at all. However, as I said previously, I do believe there are lots of things that go on during the day-to-day that are leading to my dreadlocks becoming more knotted and more mature over time. I think the best way to approach dreadlocks, I think the best way to think about dreadlocks is in terms of just regular hair. So I don't know about you, but when I had regular hair, I did not spend vast quantities of time tweaking and working and worrying about my hair. Maybe you did, maybe that's what you did, but it's not what I did, and I don't think it's all that great a way to approach dreadlocks. I mean, dreadlocks in general are not going to be all that cooperative, and so I think you're going to get really stressed out if you're going to be analysing every little bit of the dreadlock as it's progressing. So instead, I prefer to approach my dreadlocks just like I would any other hair, and just slightly tweak processes to make them best benefit the progression of my hair. I feel that this makes the dreadlocks the easiest to live with and the most practical. So probably the most important thing, and something that's fundamental whether you have dreadlocks or not, is washing the dreadlocks. So you see, most people would not even really think to consider washing dreadlocks as a maintenance. I, however, do. Washing the hair is, well, going to keep the dreadlocks clean. Clean dreadlocks are happy dreadlocks. You're going to remove the excess oils, it's going to keep those hairs in the best condition for forming new knots, but also the actual process of washing the hair, you know, you're going in with your hands, you're moving stuff around, that's interaction. You're going to be causing loose hairs to tangle together. And if that's not a maintenance, I'm not sure what is. A lot of people can get stressed out about washing dreadlocks, especially when they're young, because, you know, you go in and wash the hair and you can get some loose hair getting pulled out. I personally don't view it from that way. I mean, you can view everything from a negative angle if you want, but on the positive side, hairs that come loose after a wash, those are hairs that were not yet locked in. If a hair comes loose from just washing, that hair is not being locked in yet. It may just be lightly tucked under the dread, or it may have even been stuck down by some hair oils. And so by washing the hair, you loosen it up, and that allows it to knot up properly. Once the hair is loose again, I mean, it doesn't look great when it's just a loose frizz, but it means that day-to-day interactions can whip that hair up, can cause it to tangle, and cause it to get locked in for real. After the washing, you move on to the drying, and the drying has even more interaction. You get the towel, you're moving that towel all over. You're going to be whipping up loose hairs, tangling them all up. You're going to be rolling the towel against the dreadlocks. I don't really go in for the whole palm rolling thing, as I don't believe that it is really worth the time and effort that some people put into it. However, you can involve a rolling motion into your drying. You get two things done in the same period of time. So towel drying, you're going to get even more interaction, more opportunities for hairs to knot together. If you then go on to use a blow dryer, if you try to blow dry regular hair, you will know that it can make your hair dried out and frizzy. Now this is a loss for people with regular hair, a gain for people with dreadlocked hair. You get that hair to become slightly drier and frizzy, it can be more likely to form knots. Another completely ordinary, regular, day-to-day thing, something that's actually unavoidable, that helps your dreadlocks progress, is sleeping! Being able to maintain your dreadlocks in your sleep. Is there anything better? When you are sleeping, you're going to be rubbing your head against your pillow. That's going to be whipping up loose hairs. It's going to be causing dreadlocks to rub against each other. All interactions that can lead to new knots forming. You're asleep. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to worry. Dreadlocks taking care of themselves. You can often even see this in action in that the dreadlocks at the back of your head or on the side of your head, depending where you sleep, those dreadlocks can knot up and tighten faster than the dreadlocks on the top of your head that don't get that in-sleep interaction. So movement, interaction, good. Whether it's during the shower with your hands, during the drying with a towel, or during your sleep with the pillow. All these things can lead to hairs getting knotted together. Okay, so those were pretty much just normal, regular, everyday things that were slightly tweaked in places, slightly adapted to work for the best benefit of the dreadlocks. Now I'm going to move on to some more dreadlock specific things. The main one, possibly the most important, is separating. Okay, so there's no real direct analog for this for people with regular hair, apart from brushing. You have to brush regular hair, you have to separate dreadlocks. It's slightly different, but it's in the same ballpark. Now, separating is not entirely necessary, at least not from your dreadlocks point of view. They are going to continue dreading whether you separate or not. However, from a personal point of view, if you don't want all your dreadlocks to Congo together, you will need to implement some separating. The amount of separating required is going to depend on the dreadhead, mainly the age of the dreadlocks. People with younger dreadlocks are going to find that they're going to have to separate a lot more than older dreadlocks. I don't have to separate a whole lot at all anymore, but it may take up a significant portion of your time, at least your dreadlock available time, while your dreadlocks are young, but it will decrease over time. You'll find that you have to do it less and less and less. So if you don't want all your dreadlocks congoing together, separating is going to be an essential maintenance. Next, I have deep cleaning. I can't think of any sort of direct comparison to make with regular hair, but deep cleaning is an important part of keeping your dreadlocks clean and happy dreadlocks lead to happy dreadheads. There's not so much interaction going on during a deep clean. It's not quite the same as, just a regular wash, because you're kind of just sitting there and letting your dreadlocks soak. But deep clean is going to remove soap residues that may be within the dreadlocks and inhibiting the process. If you've got soap residue in your hair, it can slow down the process, and you just don't want old soap in your hair. They can also remove the day-to-day. It's going to soak right through the dreadlocks and give you a proper deep clean. That's what it's called, a deep clean. Remove the things that a regular wash may leave out. Once you've removed any of the stuff that may be built up inside your dreadlocks, you can find that they lock up much faster and easier afterwards. And so while for some people it may not have a huge dramatic effect on the dreadlocks, others can find that, especially if they've got stuff that needs removing, that it can really help the dreadlocks along. So I would consider that a pretty good maintenance. So we've had washing, drying, sleeping, separating, and deep cleaning. All pretty basic stuff that can go a long way to keeping dreadlocks on the right track, and all things that maybe would not fall under the definition of maintenance for a lot of people. I'd also like to add just a couple of things that maybe start to infringe on what people would maybe think of as a maintenance, and that is a couple of things that keep my hair balanced. For hair to knot nicely, it needs to be just on the dry side. However, if your hair is too dry, it can get brittle, and you don't want brittle, damaged hair. If it's too oily, it's too moisturized, it's just not going to knot very well. So you have to keep it somewhere in the middle. And for this, I have sea salt spray to get the hair a little bit drier, and I use essential oils if I need to condition and moisturize the hair. I often find that I use sea salt spray during the summer and essential oils during the winter. That's just me, it depends on your environment where you live in. It's also going to depend on your hair. Some people have drier hair than others, some people have oily hair than others. You have to get your balance just right for you. You have to find that balance. But I implement sea salt and essential oils when and where they're needed. Sea salt I will apply in a spray, sometimes in a soak, normally in a spray. Essential oils I will use in a soak, but sometimes in a spray. So that's pretty much it for me in maintenances. I pretty much just go for regular day-to-day things that I'm gonna have to do anyway and tweak them so that they can help my dreadlocks where they can. I think this is, well, at least for me, the best way to go about it because it has the least impact on my life. These are just sort of practical things that I can implement without having to worry too much about time or cost, and also things that I don't have to worry about damaging my hair over time. So there we go, that was my maintenance video. My advice is just take a step back, relax, and try not to worry about the dreadlocks any more than you have to. It's really easy to stress out about them when they're young, especially when they're loose and you've got loose hair coming out, and you can kind of worry whether they're actually going to form up or just fall apart. But you just have to trust that over time, whether you wanted dreadlocks or not, the hair will knot up and lock up by itself. Hair naturally wants to knot up and form dreadlocks. You just have to give it the time and the space required. And just keep the hair in the best conditions for this to happen, and it will just all do it by itself with minimal input and minimal stress. If you have any questions, comments, queries regarding dreadlocks, maintaining dreadlocks, me, myself, my dreadlocks, you can leave them down in the comment section below and I will get back to you. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, useful or informative, you can click the like button. If you'd like to see more videos from myself in the future, you can of course subscribe. All my stuff is available on lazydreads.com. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Farewell!